going? All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. This morning, we're going to talk about emotions and essential oils. So for anybody who's on the Zoom, please, or anybody who hops on the Zoom, please feel free to chat or ask questions. But basically, we're going to talk today about how essential oils are not just for the physical being. And we're going to talk also about how the physical aspect of wellness is extremely interconnected with the emotional side of your wellness. So first of all, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Hillary Wolf, and I work with Doterra Essential Oils as a wellness advocate, and I work to help individuals get freedom in every aspect of their lives through essential oils, relationship building, and education. So for those of you who don't have your oils yet, some of you may have your oils and may have started to play with them, but for those of you who don't have your oils yet, I'm going to just go over a really brief intro as to what essential oils are and how they work with the physical body before we talk about the much broader scope of how they work with the emotional side of things. So first off, what are essential oils? Essential oils are basically the immune system of a plant. So each individual plant actually has a unique chemical makeup of chemical compounds that helps to support all of its structures. So that might be to stave off bugs, that might chew on its leaves to stave off damage from the sun, to basically just support its cells in all ways. So these particular unique chemical compounds actually have several different properties. Some are antiviral, some are antifungal, some are anti-inflammatory, some are antibacterial, but those particular chemical compounds can actually work with our bodies in a very similar way. But the really great thing about essential oils is they are quick, they are safe, and they are really cost effective. So when I say quick, when you actually put essential oils on your skin, those chemical compounds have small enough molecules that they can actually go through your skin into your bloodstream within 20 seconds. And based on the way that essential oils communicate with our cells, we can actually get those essential oil compounds into every single cell of our body within 20 to 30 minutes, including the cells of the brain. So that's pretty amazing. So when I say quick, I mean really quick. So if you're putting them on topically, you're going to affect whatever tissues you're touching with those oils within 20 seconds. That's pretty awesome. The other piece is safe. So when we put them on topically or when we smell them, they're going into our system in a different way than we would use something potentially over the counter. So they are not necessarily going to get processed by the liver. They're actually going to get into the bloodstream and get processed in a different way. So they're going to get processed a lot more quickly, but we're not going to overload our liver and our other systems. That also means that you're not worrying about overdosing. So that's a really great aspect of them. What else? They are about 50 to 70 times more potent than dried herbs. So if you think about one drop, and usually when I have a whole bunch of people with me, we go around and we put one drop of peppermint oil in your hands and you rub it together and then you cup it over your face and you get to smell it. And that one drop is really going to hit you hard. It's going to, not in a bad way, but it's going to open up your airways. It's going to start cooling your skin. You can put any remainder of that one drop of peppermint oil on the back of your neck and you'll start to notice a cooling sensation. That one drop of peppermint is actually equivalent to 28 cups of peppermint tea. So that's huge. So they're extremely potent, extremely strong, and that one drop is going to start affecting your entire system anywhere between 20 seconds and 20 minutes. So you're going to have a really effective something that's coming in to help symptoms in your body that's going to be processed in 30 to 60 minutes. So you know that you're working on symptoms, but you also know that you're not overwhelming your body at the same time. I'm making sure that I'm not missing anything since we're kind of glossing over the physical side of things. basically a little bit goes a long way. And you've got a whole bunch of essential oils that are going to have those antibacterial and antiviral properties. So when you think about a cell, if you think about a cell, this is the cell wall, the inside is the inside of the cell. On the outside of the cell is where bacteria hang out. On the inside of the cell are where viruses hang out. So have you ever been to the doctor and had the doctor say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry you don't feel good. Unfortunately, it's viral. So you're gonna have to go home and you're gonna have to just drink your tea and wait it out. Well, with essential oils, not only can they deal with the bacteria on the outside of the cell, the essential oil molecules can actually penetrate the cell wall and deal with the viruses on the inside of the cell. So whatever crud you're dealing with, whatever symptoms you might be dealing with, you're actually getting to hit whatever the cell is dealing with, whether or not it be on the outside or inside. So we're actually able to hit things that you might not be able to deal with when you go see your doctor for symptoms. That's pretty cool too. The other piece is so we mentioned that they were safe, that they are fast acting, and I also mentioned that they are very cost effective. So when we think about a 15 milliliter bottle of oil, each 15 milliliter bottle has about 240 to 250 drops in it. So I mentioned that one drop of peppermint oil is really going to affect your body, just that one drop. Well, you've got, depending on what oil you buy, each application is literally only going to be cents for each use of the oils. So that's extremely cost effective when they're that quick, when they're that effective. The other piece that I just want to throw out there real quick, especially when talking about doTERRA essential oils, is the reason that I use doTERRA essential oils is the quality. I am absolutely confident in the quality that doTERRA has with their oils. And the reason is because they have a slew of tests that they do that are all done by third-party labs. So I know that each and every bottle is full of just the essential oil. There are no fillers, there are no synthetic additives. So when we talk about something like wild orange, I don't know how well you can see this, but wild orange, the essential oil comes from the rind of the orange peel. It's ultimately lemon zest. So the only thing in here is the essential oil from that orange. When we talk about a 15 milliliter bottle of lemon, the only thing in here is the oil from 45 lemons. So this is extremely potent, but it's also pure. The only thing that's in here is the essential oil. The other piece about doTERRA is that they source their essential oils from all over the planet, because what they do is they source their oils from the region where a particular plant thrives. So I could potentially grow lavender in my backyard, but it's not going to be the same quality of lavender that we're going to get from France, because that particular climate is really going to help create an essential oil that has the best combination of chemical compounds that are going to help our bodies the best. So for me, that's why I picked doTERRA. I'm absolutely sure that those essential oils are going to affect my body in the best possible way. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention is doTERRA's vitamins. So we're going to talk about emotions and kind of keeping even keel. When I started to use essential oils, my friend Sarah, who's on this call, she's awesome. She actually introduced me to the vitamins, and I said, great, but what I really want is, for me, I really want something that's going to keep me even keel, because I was going through a divorce at the time, and I was feeling like this. And she said, great, I have what you need. So when we're talking about emotions and staying even keel and feeling calm, these vitamins are going to be an amazing stepping off point for keeping you grounded and keeping you, like I said, even keel. So you're going to have your fish oil, which is going to help your inflammation in your body. You're also going to have your vitamins and minerals. And with these particular ones, not only do they come from whole foods, these include every single type of a vitamin. So for example, vitamin E has 8 different forms of that vitamin. And these have all 8 of those forms, all from whole foods. We also have what we call our alpha CRS, and that's going to help really build your cells at the cellular level. So it's actually going to help the mitochondria, which are the powerhouse and energy source of the cells. It's going to help increase that mitochondrial efficiency. So it's going to help with brain fog. It's going to help more with inflammation. It's going to help with sleep. It's going to help with emotions. It's going to help with stress. And I guarantee with these vitamins, you are going to notice the difference. It's not just like something you grab off the shelf at a store and you hope they're working. These ones you're absolutely going to notice that they are working. I guarantee it. Everybody's going to want to have these. So those are basically how you're going to be using your oils. And then real quick, there are 3 different ways to actually use your oils. With the emotion side, we're really talking mostly about using them aromatically. So I mentioned aromatically putting oils in the diffuser or putting them in your hand, like what I did when I was talking about the peppermint, and just smelling it to get it through that nasal cavity and into your brain is a really great way to hit your amygdala, and it's a really great way to kind of calm the entire room. So if you have a large group of people, you're going to want to use a diffuser to be able to hit emotionally that entire room. And I guarantee you I have at least 3 or 4 diffusers throughout and I don't have that big of an apartment, throughout my apartment. So we're always smelling and reaping the benefits of that aromatic. What's that? I think I have 6 in mine. The other way you can get them into your system is topically, and I mentioned putting them on your skin and getting those directly into your bloodstream. Topically is great for when you're dealing with the physical side of things. So if you have aches and pains or sore muscles and joints, something like Deep Blue, our soothing blend, is going to really get into those tissues and help with inflammation and help your actual physical person feel better. The last one with essential oil or with Doterra essential oils is internally. So again, with Doterra essential oils, I'm absolutely positive that the only thing that is in the bottles is that pure essential oil. So I'm okay putting it into my body internally. I'm okay having my kids take it internally. And with this, it's actually when you take it internally, maybe a couple drops in your water or in a capsule, it's actually going to help support your entire system. So often internally is actually a systematic health boost. So those are going to be the 3 ways that you're going to take them. Again, the immune system of a plant, a lot of these unique essential oils have varying properties. Each one is unique in their chemical makeup, so they're going to help your body in different ways. So that's the physical side of things. But now let's move on to the emotional side of things. So this is my favorite part. So if you have anything to input as I'm going, Sarah is helping me out with the comments and answering the questions. So if you have any questions, throw them out there and we'll get them answered. But I'm going to start getting kind of deep into the emotional side of things.
Yeah,
this really is.
I told everybody in here.
Perfect, because this really is my absolute favorite part. So when we're talking about the emotional side of things, you know that wellness is made up of both your physical being and your emotional being. So you have to put the emotions and the mental status together with your physical status to have overall well-being. But when I'm talking about emotions, yes, I'm talking about making sure you're stress-free, feeling like you are dealing with emotions as they come to you, but I'm talking more than that. So Doterra actually has a handful of emotional aromatherapy oils that they've put out, and they are awesome. So I'm going to mention those first. And I have them in the roller balls. These are the emotional aromatherapy touch oils. And these are fabulous because it comes with 6 different oils specifically named and designed for different types of emotions. So we've got motivate, that's one's going to help motivate you and move you forward. We've got cheer, that's going to uplift your mood. We've got passion, that's going to really help you find your passion in what you're doing. We've got forgive. This one is a must-have in my house. And studies have shown that actually forgive in the workplace is going to help people forgive situations and move on faster, and it's thus going to help boost office morale. Then we've also got console. So if you're dealing with a situation where you just want to feel better, you feel sad, you want to uplift from kind of a lower point, console is going to be a really great one. And then peace is going to be a more calming and grounding one. We've also got balance. So balance is going to be my go-to. Physically, this one is a really great one because it literally calms your nervous system. It helps you feel grounded, and it helps you just breathe better. Balance, honestly, I use it all day, every day. I love balance. I use it with my kiddos. This is one of our absolute favorites. But when I talk about those are really going to kind of work with your emotions almost on a surface level. So consider that there are two different approaches to health. Your first approach is going to be the traditional approach, where we look at the physical symptoms of something. What's going on physically with our body and how can we deal with it? And that's where the physical side of the emotional oils come in. Say you have a cold or a flu or a fever. You're going to grab maybe On Guard, which is our immunity and protecting blend, to help deal with, again, talking about the cell, deal with any viruses or germs on the outside of that cell wall. Then, maybe you have aches and pains somewhere and you're going to grab that deep blue and put it directly on. Maybe you have a sore throat. You're going to grab the oils that you might need for a sore throat. But what if you are dealing with a situation and the tried and true stuff that you might grab for a physical situation is just not working? Now what? So when we talk about emotions and oils, let's look at two different concepts. It's basically based on two concepts. The first idea is that essential oils are chemical compounds, and each chemical compound, we're talking chemistry, right? Each chemical compound has an energy. It has a vibration based on that chemistry. Then let's also consider the concept that we are emotional beings. We are full of energy, and we are energetic beings. So what if we were to consider that instead of our body just creating physical symptoms, and as a physical being, we have our physical self and then our emotional self, what if we were to consider that the emotions that we feel actually manifest themselves in a physical way? So when we're looking at our physical being and the symptoms that are coming from our daily life, maybe it's soreness, maybe it's headaches, maybe you're not able to sleep. What if we were to consider that these are all physical manifestations of emotions that we're feeling right now, or maybe we've felt and we've kind of suppressed them and not dealt with them because we just want to get them out of the way so we can do what we're supposed to be doing on a day-to-day basis. So what if we were to shift our paradigm and start actually treating the emotional side of things first? So with emotions, those are going to be your two basic concepts. Each essential oil is going to have a different vibration and a different chemical makeup that's going to react with not only your physical system, but it's also going to react with your emotional system in a very specific way. And then the other piece is that our emotions may actually be causing whatever physical symptoms we see presenting themselves. So from there, let me just check my notes real quick. So from there, we have a couple different ways to look at emotions and essential oils. And your physical body and your emotional body, again, they're not separate. It's this whole system. It's this whole cycle, this interconnected communication. And it's really cool and it's really complicated. So there are going to be a whole different ways we can look at it. And as you start playing with your essential oils on an emotional basis, you're going to start kind of coming at it in several different ways when you're looking at your emotions. So I mentioned dealing with physical symptoms, reaching for something and having it not work. Well, why might that be? So for example, what if you had a really upset stomach? You might reach for digestion. In general, that can help any stomach discomfort. It can help support your digestive system. But what if that's not helping? Well, let's consider why your stomach hurts. What if you're really nervous? What if you're really scared of what's coming and it's actually manifesting itself in an upset stomach? So digestion's probably not going to hit that situation. But like I said, each essential oil has its own vibration. So we can actually relate each essential oil to a separate emotion or a separate group of emotions. Juniper berry is the the essential oil of fear. So in that situation, something that might help your upset stomach that might not otherwise help the digestive system is juniper berry, because you're dealing with that core, that root of whatever the issue is. Another situation might be, I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Like speaking like that.
I'm going to get to that in just a second. But when you're thinking of your emotions and how they manifest themselves, you have to consider that the body is extremely literal. So another situation that comes to mind for me is the foot.
Yeah, I have that too.
So I am currently training for a marathon and probably overdoing it just a little bit, but rather than just the general, aches and pains, soreness, muscle issues that one might have training, I tend to get the issue in my foot, in the top of my foot. And I can put Deep Blue on it all day long and it's going to help that inflammation in those tissues, but it's not going to help in the long run necessarily. And so I have to start thinking really literally. So what are different things that you can think of in a really literal way as to why your foot might be hurting? Maybe, and this is an issue with me, maybe I'm not taking a stand. Maybe I'm not standing up for myself. Maybe I am, and literally when I try to step on that foot, sometimes it's hard to stand up. One that my daughter came up with the other day was, you're not taking the next step. So when something like that comes up, Deep Blue is going to help kind of on a temporary basis, but one that might come up for me with not taking the next step is cypress. Cypress is the oil of movement. Or maybe it's going to be ginger, because ginger is the oil of empowerment. So if I'm not taking a stand or I'm not standing up for myself, maybe I need to feel more empowered. The other side of that is, I'll steal this. The other side of that is when you're thinking of how you want to feel, you can also be very, very literal. So again, each oil is associated with an emotion. And it's really interesting when you're thinking, well, I really want to feel grounded, or I want to feel like when I have a speaking situation, my words flow from me. So on the opposite end of the spectrum, you can be very literal and find an oil that on a physical level is going to do a certain thing. And interestingly enough, on an emotional level, it's going to do the same thing. So for example, when we talk about On Guard, that's our protecting and our immunity blend. Well, when I go into certain situations, I want to make sure that I stay in my own lane. I don't worry about how other people are feeling. I don't want anybody's negative energy to get into my positive bubble. So I'm actually going to put that On Guard, our protective blend, right on my belly, just a couple of drops rubbed into my belly as a protection, kind of like a shield to anybody else's energy. Another one might be,
it works.
And it does work. It totally works. Another one might be lavender. So again, in a speaking situation, I want my words to flow through me. I want my cells in my throat to just open up and be clear and have everything just perfectly flow. Well, lavender is going to do that on a very, cypress as well, because that's the oil of movement. Lavender and cypress are going to do that on a very literal basis. They're really going to help those cells kind of open up and depuff, if you think about lavender in terms of like an antihistamine. But if you think about it then emotionally, my words are going to come out so much more clearly. And I actually put lavender on before this talk just for that reason.
It's the oil of communication.
Lavender is, yep. And lavender is also the oil of communication. So when you start to connect really literal physical things with emotional things, you're going to be shocked as to how they're going to connect. Real quick, the resource that I use to figure out which oil does what emotionally is the Emotions and Essential Oils book. So you can get this at Aroma Tools. I will mention this again at the end, but if you don't yet have your oils that you're wanting to use and you do want to sign up with oils and start using them for your emotions toolkit and your physical toolkit, I will actually provide this for you for free so you have that resource for yourself if you sign up by the end of this weekend. So again, this one's going to tell me what each oil does. So each oil is associated with a different emotion. A couple other pieces, sometimes your emotions and the physical piece are going to show up in the same way. So for example, digestin is the oil of digestion. Pretend that you have, again, a really upset stomach, and it's not based on fear. It's based on something like you're not able to digest that information. You're having trouble transitioning. You're having trouble stomaching an issue. You might really have an upset stomach, and in that case, digestin is actually the perfect oil for you because of those emotionally based issues, because digestin is that oil of digestion. It's going to help you keep processing whatever situation you're dealing with. What's another one that's like that? Another one like that is HD Clear. That's our topical blend that a lot of people use physically for skin imperfections, acne. I think you can also use it potentially for cuts and scars. But that one, we looked it up earlier today, the emotions that particular blend deals with is feeling like you kind of want to hide, not feeling like you're confident in yourself. So maybe those emotions might show up as a physical situation like acne or skin imperfections that kind of tie into those emotions. That acne is your way of continuing to hide or continuing to not feel like you are an empowered person. So that HD Clear is a great example as to how you can connect exactly that essential oil to that whatever the root emotion is.
Stuff blows my mind.
I know, it's crazy. But if you think about it, our body actually holds emotions and manifests emotions in different systems and in different organs. So sometimes we might be looking at a physical situation, and again, that thing that we might normally grab for is not working. And the reason might be because each emotion shows up differently in a different system of your body. So for example, your lungs are going to be your organ of grief. Mm-hmm. So coughing. If you, coughing, pneumonia, if you say you just lost somebody and suddenly you come up with this cough that just won't go away, you can use Breathe, which again lines up exactly with the emotion and the essential oil. Breathe is going to work on your lungs, and that's where that emotion is coming out. But you can use Breathe, you can use On Guard. That might not be helping. You might not realize that your, say, pneumonia or your lung issue is coming from that deep-seated core of grief. And in that case, you're going to want to start looking for other oils that are really going to touch on that grief. And that might be something like the Console blend, one of the emotional blends. It might be something like peppermint, which is actually the oil of a buoyant heart. Maybe you lost somebody and you had issues that you didn't resolve. You're going to want to look for oils that are going to help create that closure and that clarity and that peace and that console that Breathe might not touch.
Rose.
Rose could help that as well. Another organ system that is associated with a particular group of emotions is the liver. the liver processes anger. And I think this one's super interesting, and I know that this must be true because one of my kiddos was, she was about 18 months old and started coughing every night between about, let's say, 1 and 3. So we went and we talked to kind of an Eastern specialist doctor because we couldn't figure out why she would cough for 2 hours straight and then she'd be good. And it's because this particular practitioner told us it's because during different times of the night, your body actually deals with processing with different organ systems. So for example, let's see, I think the heart system comes from about 10 to 1, the heart and cardiovascular system. The liver really starts to kind of process and regroup between 1 and 3, and then the lungs are going to start kicking in between 3 and 6. So it was really interesting. It was almost like 12:59 on the dot, she would start coughing, and then 2 or 3 would roll around, and then she'd be done. She'd go right back to sleep. So they said, why don't you take out gluten? So we took out gluten for a little while, and the coughing completely stopped because your liver is what processes gluten. So we took out gluten for a while, the coughing completely stopped. Ultimately, we started adding it back in little by little, and she doesn't cough anymore. But I started taking out gluten as well, just because we were taking it out for her. I noticed that as soon as I would then take a bite of pizza or have a cookie or something with a whole bunch of gluten with wheat in it, I would get really, really angry. And I used to work at a medical facility where when we had really tough patients, everyone would grab a piece of pizza and give it to me. And I would get in that fight mode where I could definitely be confrontational with those patients that nobody else wanted to deal with. So the liver, I know this is true, the liver is definitely the oil of anger. So when you're thinking about being really angry, maybe you're going to want to grab for that balance that's calming and helps kind of de-stress you. But maybe you want to grab cardamom instead, which is the oil of objectivity. And that's actually going to help you, again, stay in your lane. It's going to calm you. It's literally going to open your bronchioles in your chest because it's a vasodilator. It's also going to help work on the liver, but that particular oil is directly associated with anger. And that one's really going to tap into calming your anger and helping you forgive. The last couple things I want to say about emotions, and I could talk about emotions and oils for days on end. Yep, all day, every day. But it's really interesting when you pick an oil for a physical thing, you may notice an emotional balancing as well. So one example is my other half snores like a banshee, like a monster. It's atrocious. So one of the oils that I looked at before they came out with the emotional aromatherapy oils, one of the oils that I looked at for snoring was thyme. And thyme is supposed to really help your respiratory system, open your airways. And I didn't mention it earlier, but a lot of times when you're using oils physically, you want to put them on the bottom of your feet, because if you consider the bottom of the foot kind of a map of your body, and it's based on acupressure and acupuncture points, you can definitely, for physical issues, put your oils on the bottom of the feet and still have it hit all other pieces of your system, but with the bottom of the foot, you can kind of use it as like a fast track to wherever you're trying to go. So with snoring, you're going to want to put oils on the bottom of your big toe, because that big toe is associated with the head area. So 1 drop of thyme on the bottom of the big toe is amazing for snoring. So we tried it the first night, and I can tell you I don't love how thyme smells. It's not my favorite. It's really strong. And we could both smell it as well as having it go into his system. Well, snoring went away. But for 3 nights in a row, we both had awful dreams, horrible dreams. The 3rd morning, we woke up, and he woke up and said, oh my gosh, I just had a dream where I forgave somebody for a serious issue that went on years ago, and I knew he had still been working on this on a personal level. He said, we're good. I don't need to worry about this issue anymore. Well, I did not tell him that thyme also happened to be the oil of forgiveness. So not only was I getting more sleep because we weren't snoring, or he wasn't snoring, but he was able to then get that extra benefit of clearing that emotional thing that he had been dealing with. He had a dream about this person. He didn't actually get to connect with her, but for him, that was all he needed, was that processing with those oils to help clear that emotional piece. So that might sound a little bit scary, 3 nights in a row having atrocious dreams, but one of the things that you're going to deal with when you're dealing with the emotional side of oils is what's called a healing crisis. So a lot of times we can actually scan for oils that we need, or we're using oils on a physical level or an emotional level for multiple days. You may feel that those emotions get worse before they get better. And that's going to happen on the physical level as well. So don't panic if they're not working exactly the way you want them to on an emotional level. Keep going, because it may be an accumulative thing. Do you have anything else, Sarah, that you want to input in terms of how to attack emotions and the physical being? Basically, your essential oils are hitting multiple pieces of your system, and in order to create that whole wellness being, you're going to really want to look at the emotional side and how those are coming up physically in your body. So real quick, I'm going to throw out some thoughts on the holidays and essential oils, and maybe how you're going to use your essential oils to help monitor your emotions, because again, we want to make sure to take our emotions in stride. Emotions are not bad. They're good things. We are humans. We're emotional beings. We're energetic beings. And so as we get emotional, that's okay. And that's why we get to use those essential oils to help deal with those as they come, as opposed to kind of stuffing them down or not dealing with them and then having them maybe manifest as a chronic situation in our bodies. So for me, for the holidays, again, balance is my absolute go-to. Balance is literally going to help separate the red blood cells in your vasculature, so it then delivers oxygen more appropriately to all of the cells of your body. So on a physical level, this one's really going to ground you. And when I say ground, think about all of your tree oils as a side note, because they have roots. So when you're grounding, wanting to calm yourself, again, let's be really physical or literal. You're wanting to find something that's really rooted into the ground. So your tree oils are going to do that for you. And Balance has some great ones in there. So Balance is literally going to ground your nervous system. But when I'm thinking of going into, say, like a family drama situation, I tend to be the black sheep, and I tend to get nervous about kind of standing up for myself and communicating properly. Ones that I like to use, and I don't actually have my notes right in front of me, but ones that I like to use are Cassia, because that's going to be your oil of self-assurance. So that really helps me sit at the holiday dinner table and feel really self-assured in what have I been doing over the last 6 months or year? What am I doing now? How am I creating this magical holiday situation for my kids? So that feeling of self-assuredness is really amazing.
So how do you use, so Cassia is hot.
Right. So Cassia is really hot.
Yeah. So how do you use it?
Ginger is really hot as well. And ginger is the oil of empowerment. So that's another one that I want to use. But again, they are really hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those, and even cinnamon, I think, has a, let's see what, I know cinnamon is a,
I can look at it.
Oh, no, not cinnamon necessarily. That's not going to be a helpful one necessarily. But
Clove?
yes, it was clove.
Yeah.
I'm going to look it up in my book. Oh, clove is the oil of boundaries. And again, really hot, but clove is going to help me stay in my own lane, make sure that, especially during the holidays, my boundaries get kind of fuzzy. Sometimes at like a family situation, or maybe you're at an office party or a holiday party, maybe the communication isn't quite going the way it might in other situations, because you're just kind of trying to make sure everybody's feeling good about the holidays. Clove is, with the oil of boundaries, it's really going to help you establish your boundaries for what is and is not okay to have people say to you, for stuff that gets discussed. It also really helps you kind of stand up for yourself. And especially in the holidays, sometimes I say yes when I really shouldn't be, and I'm overloading my calendar. Clove is going to be a really great one for you to say, nope, that actually doesn't work for me. So clove, cassia, and ginger are all really great ones for conversations and making sure that you're really self-assured and staying in your own lane. So what I would suggest with these is potentially putting them in a roller ball with, depending on, yes, depending on kind of the size of your roller ball. I would say 5 drops of each with a 5 milliliter roller ball, 10 drops of each with a 10 milliliter roller ball, and then the rest fractionated coconut oil. So you're really diluting those guys to make sure that they're not going to be ultra hot on your skin. And then maybe even just putting them on your feet. Don't worry about putting them. Sometimes I have my kids put their roller balls with their emotional blends on the back of their neck. Sometimes I have them put over the heart. But with this particular one, I would probably consider either putting it in the diffuser or rolling it in a roller ball, hugely diluted roller ball on the bottom of the feet. The other one that I absolutely love during the holidays is wild orange. And wild orange is the essential oil of abundance. And this one we use absolutely all year long. We put it in the diffuser every morning along with peppermint to get the kids up and out the door without getting grumpy. They get all of their stuff done. There are no meltdowns. That's a really, really great one for everyday use, but during the holidays, especially when you're dealing with finances and you're dealing with wanting to get everybody the gifts that you're wanting to get them, and you're dealing with extra expenses for travel or decorations or putting on a party, any of those things you can use wild orange for. So with wild orange, it's actually kind of like this big, warm citrus hug, and it's going to really help you feel like you are basically you're taken care of by the universe, and it's going to really reduce that worry and help calm your fears around that particular, maybe those particular money situations. And then I always have to talk about geranium. Geranium's my favorite. I know, not everybody loves geranium. But when I love it for what it does, not for its stuff. Yes. When I was going through my divorce, one of the things that I wanted to make sure I was able to do for my kiddos was to make sure that not only did we get to work as a team, because it's just me and my 2 girls, but that we kind of, again, with the even keel, we weren't having major blow-ups and major meltdowns every time they came home from their dad's house. So geranium is the oil of love and trust. So in situations where maybe you're in a family situation that might be a little tense, maybe you're just trying to deal with your own self-love practices to get you through the holidays, geranium is honestly really going to help people get along better. It's going to help people kind of trust their environment better. It's, I think, going to take any drama and any tensions down a notch. So geranium is my absolute #1 go-to almost all the time, but especially during the holidays when emotions are high, tensions are high. I actually tend to put geranium in my dryer for my laundry, because when you take out a warm towel and it smells like geranium, it for me, it basically smells like love. So those are going to be my must-haves for the holidays. Slim and Sassy is also a great one because not only does it help with your metabolism and it helps with cravings, it's also going to help with body confidence. So if you're going through the holidays and you're worried about holiday parties and holiday munching, or if you're really trying to keep up your workout regimen, Slim and Sassy is a definite go-to. You can put a couple drops in your water, you can put a drop under your tongue, or you can put it in the diffuser to really help get that scent into your brain and help reduce cravings, and then also help boost your own personal self-confidence. So in terms of emotions, again, I could go on forever and ever. That's kind of the basics. Those are my basics that I go to, and I'm always learning. So as you are continuing to use your oils and incorporate more and more oils into your toolbox, both physically and emotionally, you are going to notice different pieces of the emotional side, and there are going to be different things that you'll get to call on with the emotions, and it's going to be really, really fun for you. Just one quick note. with December, Doterra is offering a really awesome promo for if you order 200 points, which is about $200 or more of essential oils or Doterra products, you are actually going to get a free frankincense. And this one, right? This one emotionally is amazing. This is actually the oil of truth. So when we're trying to get grounded, when we're trying to kind of figure out what our purpose is, who we are, get clarity on what we're trying to do, it helps focus. It helps calm. And then on top of that, physically, it is also basically liquid gold. It's going to help with absolutely everything.
Skin, cells.
Yep. It really, really helps on that cellular level, helps boost your cell health and cellular growth. And that's really going to show physically as it starts to work. So frankincense, which is usually around $69, $67.
That's wholesale though. Retail
yep,
is
and that's
more.
with a wholesale membership. To get that for free, that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So if you are interested in getting set up with your oils and you want to put in that enrollment order of 200 points or more, that frankincense is going to be an awesome addition to your initial toolkit. If you already have your oils and haven't put in order yet for December, definitely consider putting in that 200 points or more to get that frankincense, that free frankincense.
You can gift shop and get your points up.
Exactly. You can also, in order to get that 200 points, use Doterra as your gifts. So start shopping for everybody else, and once you get to that 200 point mark, then you can get that free frankincense for yourself. Or maybe you can even use that free frankincense for somebody else as a gift. But this is a phenomenal deal. Again, for anybody who doesn't have their oils and wants to get set up today, not only am I offering this beauty. I was looking through it, so now we've got,
Definitely
I don't have
need
the,
that book.
Yep, this is my must go to. This is my Bible. This is Emotions and Essential Oils. We use this on a daily basis. For anyone who gets set up with an enrollment order of 100 points or more, I will offer this, and I am also offering the larger version of the Modern Essentials book, which is going to look at all of the physical aspects of all of the oils. So these, in conjunction with each other, together, these are absolutely amazing tools. So if you sign up by the end of this weekend, you get this, you get the ME, the Modern Essentials book, and if your order is 200 points or more as you sign up before the end of the weekend, then you'll get this, the Modern Essentials book, and then also a free frankincense. So this is a pretty awesome deal. 'Tis the season for giving. Yeah. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. My name is Hillary Wolf. I think that's pretty much all we have. I work with Adventures in EO, so if you find me on
there if they want to ask a question.
Oh, awesome. Whoever is on with us, welcome. And if you have questions, please feel free to throw those out there. We'll answer questions for a little bit longer. And I really look forward to working with you guys with your emotion side, your physical side, helping keep your family even keel, and helping them deal with their emotions as they come. So thanks so much for checking in today. I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your holiday season. Thank you.